from the shadowed corners of reality, where the known twists into the terrifying, and the whispers of the cosmos carry chilling tales. You've stumbled upon Parallax Tales. Here we delve into the realms of horror and sci-fi, where the boundaries of perception blur, and the darkness holds secrets best left undisturbed. Prepare yourself for narrated journeys into the unsettling, the strange, and the utterly terrifying. Subscribe now and brace yourself, for the parallax is about to shift.
My fascination with the teachings of Carlos Castaneda began, as it does for many, in a dusty university library. I was researching altered states of consciousness for my thesis, and Don Juan's descriptions of seeing and interacting with allies resonated with a part of me that felt unawakened. I know. Many dismiss it as fiction, drug-induced hallucinations, or even outright deception. But something about the raw, visceral nature of his experiences pulled me in. I became particularly fixated on a passage in Tales of Power describing how to use a mirror and a body of water as a gateway for an ally to enter our world. Don Juan's warnings were explicit. This was not a parlor trick, not a game. It was a dangerous, irreversible act. Naturally, that's exactly the passage my rebellious mind fixated on. My apartment, a dimly lit, cluttered space in a rundown part of the city, became my makeshift ritual chamber. I found an antique mirror at a flea market, the kind with an ornate, tarnished frame that seemed to hold secrets within its cloudy depths. For the water, I used my bathtub, filling it to the brim. I know, a bathtub. Hardly a mystical lake. But it was the best I could do. The night I decided to go through with it was a night like any other. Rain lashed against the windows, mirroring the unease in my stomach. I arranged the mirror at the foot of the tub, its reflective surface facing the water. I stripped naked, the cool air raising goosebumps on my skin, and stepped into the water. It was shockingly cold and I shivered uncontrollably. I took a deep breath, trying to remember Don Juan's instructions. Focus on the reflection, clear your mind, and invite the ally. Invite it with respect, with humility, but also with a firm resolve. I am here, I whispered, my voice trembling. I open myself to you. I invite you to cross the threshold. Nothing happened. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The cold water seeped into my bones, and my reflection stared back at me, a pale, wavering ghost. I started to think this was a fool's errand, a product of an overactive imagination and too much late-night reading. Disappointment gnawed at me. Just as I was about to give up, the reflection in the mirror shifted. It wasn't a dramatic change, not at first. It was subtle, like a ripple in a still pond. My eyes seemed to darken, to become deeper, more ancient. And then, a flicker of movement behind my reflection. A shadow, a shape, coalescing in the depths of the water. My heart hammered against my ribs. Fear, raw and primal, seized me. This was no longer a game. This was real. The shape in the water grew larger, more defined. It wasn't human. It was insectal, serpentine, something that defied description. Its form writhed and shifted, a kaleidoscope of chitinous plates and glistening scales. And then two eyes opened. They weren't my eyes. They were large, multifaceted, and glowed with an eerie, inner light. They fixed on me and I felt a jolt of recognition? No, not recognition. Familiarity. As if this thing was something I had known in a forgotten dream, a repressed memory. A voice echoed in my mind, not through my ears, but directly into my thoughts. It was a chorus of whispers, clicks, and hisses, a language that bypassed my understanding and spoke directly to my instincts. We are here, it said. We have come. The water in the tub began to churn, to bubble. The shape in the mirror pressed closer, its form now halfway out of the reflection, halfway here. I could see details now, the glistening mandibles, the rows of razor-sharp teeth, the long, segmented limbs reaching out towards me. I wanted to scream, but my voice was frozen in my throat. I wanted to run, but my limbs were paralyzed with terror. I was trapped, a helpless offering in my own twisted ritual. Then it spoke again. You opened the door, little human. Now you must pay the toll. A wave of nausea washed over me, followed by an intense pressure in my head. It felt like my thoughts were being extracted, pulled out of my skull like threads from a tapestry. My memories, my emotions, my very essence was being siphoned away. The creature in the mirror continued to emerge, its grotesque form now fully present in my bathroom. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and the room filled with a stench of ozone and decay. I don't know how long it lasted. Could have been minutes, hours, or an eternity. Time ceased to have meaning. There was only the creature, its insatiable hunger, and the agonizing process of being unmade. Finally, mercifully, it stopped. The creature receded back into the mirror, its form dissolving into the swirling darkness. The reflection flickered, then stabilized, showing my own battered, hollow-eyed face. I collapsed, gasping for breath, my body trembling violently. The water in the tub was still, but it felt tainted, corrupted. The room was silent, but the echoes of that alien voice still reverberated in my mind. I managed to crawl out of the tub, my skin raw and burning. I stumbled to my bed, collapsing into a shivering heap. I didn't sleep that night or the night after. The days that followed were a blur of terror and confusion. I was a shell of my former self, haunted by fragmented memories and plagued by an unshakable feeling of emptiness. The world seemed thinner, less vibrant, as if a part of me had been leached away. I tried to explain what happened to my friends, to my professors, but they just looked at me with concern and pity. They attributed it to stress, to a bad trip, to a mental breakdown. But I knew the truth. I had opened a door that should have remained closed. I had invited something into our world that had no place here. And I had paid a price far greater than I could have ever imagined. I still have the mirror. It's wrapped in a black cloth, hidden in the deepest corner of my closet. I can't bring myself to destroy it, but I can't bear to look at it either. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I can hear whispers coming from within its depths. So, please take my warning seriously. Don't try this. Don't repeat my mistake. The allure of the unknown is a powerful thing, but some doors are better left unopened. Some knowledge comes at too high a cost. And the allies, they are not what you think.
That's all for this tale, but the shadows here at Parallax Tales are always shifting. Many more stories of cosmic dread and psychological horror are on their way. Subscribe now and don't miss the next descent into the darkness.